You know, the entire AI revolution, the very thing that makes ChatGPT feel so human, it all comes down to one single brilliant idea. And it has nothing to do with just having more data or faster computers. It was a complete game changer, a total rethinking of how a machine could even begin to understand language. And that one idea, that's what we're going to break down piece by piece right now. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to see why the old AI models were just broken. Then we'll get to the radical new idea that changed everything. We'll dive into the core mechanism that makes it all tick, see how the full system gets built, and finally connect the dots to how this one idea kicked off the AI revolution we're living in today. To really appreciate the genius here, we have to start with the problem it solved. There was this fatal flaw in all the old AI models, and it all came down to one simple thing: memory. For decades, AI models were taught to read just like we do, one word at a time, from left to right. It's called sequential processing. But here's the thing. Imagine trying to read a whole book, but you can only look at it through a tiny little pinhole, seeing just one word at a time. You completely lose the plot, right? Well, that's exactly what was happening to AI. And this was the fatal flaw. With any sentence that was longer than just a few words, the AI would literally forget what it was talking about. By the time it got to the end, the context from the beginning, poof, gone. It was like trying to have a conversation with someone with zero short-term memory. It just couldn't work. And then, this is where everything changed. A handful of brilliant researchers started asking this really simple but totally radical question. What if we're doing this all wrong? What if we just throw out the rulebook? And this was the big idea. Forget the pinhole. Forget reading one word at a time. What if the AI could see the entire sentence, all at once? What if it could instantly understand the whole web of connections between every single word, all at the same time? It was a massive shift, from thinking in a straight line to thinking in a network. And the tool they invented to make this happen is just as elegant as the idea itself. It's called self-attention, and honestly, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a way for a sentence to basically understand itself. So here's the key. For every single word in a sentence, the self-attention mechanism asks a question. Okay, to understand you, which other words in this sentence matter the most? It then gives a score to every other word, creating this incredible map of relevance. Let me show you how this works. Look at this sentence. What does the word it refer to? The robot or the ball? For you and me, that's obvious. And with self-attention, it becomes obvious for the AI too. It creates this huge connection, a super high attention score, between it and ball, instantly locking in the meaning. No more confusion. But here's the catch. Just connecting a pronoun to a noun, that's not enough to really get a sentence. Language is so much more complex, right? It's got layers. There's grammar, there's meaning, there's context. You need to understand all of it at once. So the creators took it a step further. Instead of having just one attention mechanism looking at the sentence, they created a bunch of them, all running in parallel. Think of it like a team of experts all reading the same sentence. You've got one who's a grammar specialist, just finding the subject and the verb. Another is like a storyteller, tracking who did what to whom. A third is a detective, connecting little clues like pronouns. This whole team working together, that's called multi-head attention. Okay, so we've got self-attention and multi-head attention. Those are the core pieces. But how do you actually assemble them into a powerful engine that can, think and write? Let's build out the full system. And right away, this created a really surprising new problem. If the AI sees all the words at the same time, how does it know what order they were originally in? I mean, the dog chased the cat, and the cat chased the dog use the exact same words, but the order completely changes the meaning. By breaking that old one word at a time rule, they actually lost this crucial piece of information. The solution was so simple, it's brilliant. Before the model even starts its analysis, it adds a special invisible tag to each word. You can think of it like a little digital timestamp that just says, hey, you were first, you were second, you were third, and so on. This is called positional encoding, and it gives the model the best of both worlds, the lightning speed of seeing everything at once, plus the crucial context of the original order. Okay, now this might look a little complicated, but the core idea is actually pretty straightforward. All these pieces we've been talking about, they get organized into two main parts. Over here on the left, you've got the encoder. Think of it as the reader. Its only job is to read your request and deeply understand it. And on the right, you have the decoder. That's the writer. It takes that understanding and starts crafting a response. So let's break that down. The encoder is the reader. It takes your sentence and using all those cool attention mechanisms, it builds this complex numerical representation, basically a map of what your sentence means. Then it hands that map over to the decoder, who is the writer. The writer looks at that meaning map and starts generating a new sentence, one word at a time, all based on that deep understanding it was given. And that complete system, from that core idea of attention all the way to this full encoder-decoder structure, that's what changed absolutely everything. This was the spark that ignited the AI revolution we're in today. And this whole powerful architecture, it finally has a name. It's called the Transformer. It was introduced way back in 2017 by Team Google in a research paper with this perfectly bold and now legendary title. Attention is all you need. I mean, they just knew they'd found the key. They realized that with this new mechanism, you didn't need those old, slow word-by-word methods anymore. Attention was all you needed. And the advantages were just immediate and massive. Because it could process everything at once, it was way, way faster to train. And because it could see all the connections instantly, it was so much better at understanding long, complicated sentences and relationships. And that led to this huge leap in quality. And they had the numbers to prove it. For this super difficult task of machine translation, the Transformer didn't just inch past the old models. It completely shattered the records. This chart here shows that jump in quality. It set a brand new state-of-the-art, blowing past everything that came before. This wasn't just an upgrade, it was a whole new ballgame. So here's the big takeaway. This architecture, the Transformer, is the engine inside basically every large language model you've ever heard of. ChatGPT, the T in GPT stands for Transformer. It is the fundamental building block of all modern AI. So the next time you use an AI, the next time you ask ChatGPT a question, just remember this whole journey. Remember that it's not just about massive amounts of data or raw computing power. At its very heart is a simple, beautiful idea. The idea that to truly understand, you don't just need to read, you need to pay attention.